Sampayetia Obayansa Pusu Bunibia one kana sam Zemafu to some kakre wa supreme Yo Kofi oh my woman.
Illegal logging has contributed to the high rate of deforestation in Ghana, resulting in loss of livelihoods to communities, climate change, land degradation, and loss of productive agricultural lands, loss of biodiversity, and revenue. In 2009, the government of Ghana and the European Union signed a voluntary partnership agreement to combat illegal logging activities in the country by exporting only legally produced timber and timber products into the European market. The government of Ghana took another bold step in 2011 to halt the wanton use of illegal timber on the domestic market by formulating a domestic market and a public procurement policy on timber and timber products, which is expected to reduce illegal timber on the domestic market. It is, however, unfortunate to know that the awareness and understanding of key stakeholders in the wood supply chain is low on the Voluntary Partnership Agreement, European Union Timber Regulation, and the Domestic Market Policy. It is because of these reasons that the Working Group on Forest Certification, a non-governmental organization in the forest sector, received funding from the European Union to address the information and capacity gap among key stakeholders, including forest fringe communities, timber firms, estate officers, woodworkers, wood vendors, media, among others, in 3 timber-producing forest districts, Bibiani, Sehuijaboso, and Sehuioso of the western region of Ghana. The project is to strengthen the capacity of community-based forest stakeholders and key actors in the wood supply chain for the implementation of the Voluntary Partnership Agreement and Forest Law Enforcement, Governance and Trade, FLEGE, EU Timber Regulations, and the Domestic Market Policy in Ghana. The Working Group European Union project commenced in January 2014 with a series of consultations with other stakeholders in the forestry sector, including the Forestry Commission, other NGOs, traditional authorities, and district assemblies. 30 communities, active timber firms, contractors, wood carvers and carpenters, and other wood users were selected as primary project beneficiaries. Emmanuel Amuabuache is the Executive Director of the Working Group on Forest Certification, Ghana.
The Working Group on Forest Certification is a multi-stakeholder organization, and our role is to promote sustainable forest management through the use of standards. By standards, I mean that forest management are measured based on agreed sets of principles that are agreed by stakeholders in the country. And so our goal in Ghana is to ensure that all forestry activities are done in line with internationally acceptable standards for good management. If you look at the data that we have in Ghana, and if you look from space, you will notice that the last remnant of forest in Ghana is found only in the western region. You can drive from Ashanti region, you will not encounter any good forest. So you have the last remnant of forest in the western region. So we saw the need to take Sehuioso, Bibiani and Jaboso as our project pilot site, since we noticed that it will contribute a lot in saving the last remnant of forest which we have in the country. So that was actually the reason why we selected Sehuioso and then the communities alike to implement the project so that we can stop the continued deforestation of our last forest. Actually, the project adopted a community-based approach to halt deforestation because you observe that the communities play a key role in accelerating forest degradation rate. Communities depend on the forest for their livelihood. Because of that, they connive with a lot of individuals who don't want to respect our laws to destroy the forest. So we thought that if we are able to establish community structures that will be able to monitor the forest, that will be able to report on illegal offenses to the appropriate authorities, it will contribute a long way to help the deforestation. And so from our project, we succeeded in establishing community structures so that they can monitor forest operation, so that they can also engage timber companies in social responsibility agreement negotiation, so that communities will be able to derive tangible benefits from the forest. By so doing, we expect that when they receive benefit from the forest, they'll be motivated to contribute their quota in saving the forest.
Mr. Adansi Bondajo, the DCE of Bibiani Amiaso District Assembly, inaugurated the Social Responsibility Agreement Committees formed under the project. With the establishment of the Social Responsibility Agreement Committees, community have become more conscious of their identified rights and responsibilities under the VPA and are monitoring illegal operations in their respective areas. He talks about how Social Responsibility Agreement Committee have contributed in reducing illegal logging operations in his community. Serge Frimpong is the leader of the Social Responsibility Agreement Committee in Abensumsium community.
Enam ni kwan mu a saa nipa no yenso ye bomodin asa ye bema forest empanifo mo bibie ni anaso mo ye mpatam mo nso aso beti se ade se ni se ya na omo ye no ye kwaye ni a ye mfa mra kwan.
Mr. Gilbert Ampofo, Assistant District Manager of Bibiani Forest Service Division, also confirmed the increase in forest offense reportings by members of the communities in the district.
Within the period of 1 year, our records indicate that the reporting of forest offenses to the district has really increased, and hence the of forest offenses itself has also decreased. In fact, this is through the educational and sensitization program to bring on board all fringe communities to help in the protection and then maintenance of our forest reserves.
The project also succeeded in introducing beekeeping as alternative livelihood activity in the 30 beneficiary communities. This has improved livelihood and reduced pressure on the natural forest. Mr. Kojobuodu is a beneficiary of the beekeeping program and narrates how his activity has benefited the whole community.
I'm say a bra mo bachelor a warrior no yenso yeni eje ho ama yitu hu anamo bebre na yeye ewo no ekudru baabi no ama mfaso na efremu ba no ama kurum ano ene kurum panimfo no hu sese omodo omo hu jim na omutu hu anamo ebeboa kuru ni mu emrante ne nyina ntima kurum ano enso organize boys na ewo ha no sese sa na te dia na nimbie na mpanimfo na de ba kire ye ne yenso yemwa na yemfa sa nimbie na nkire kurum ha emrante no ma yenso yetimi ene o mu hyiae ene o mu efa sa antitie nim ema kurum ha emrante ni bi nso edi sa adwumadi na chi a o mu bobo adaka ewo no edimu a amasisi adwuma no etra ye ba mu ma no ekọ akiri.
To enhance the potential in the beekeeping program, the beneficiaries in this activity were linked to the business advisory centers in their various districts to support them beyond the lifespan of the project. Mr. David Ando Kenson is the representative of the National Board for Small-Scale Industries in the Serioso.
My office, which is the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, the Rural Enterprise Program, has been in collaboration with the Forest Certification Working Group, and to a larger extent we have supported these groups with some kind of skills development training. They have been given the skills development training in business management, whereby they are able to keep proper records of their businesses by way of keeping the expenditure patterns and also the income flows patterns of their businesses. Currently, we have run some kind of a business export development training for them, so that they'll be able to package this product, the honey product, very well, and be able to market it outside the municipality. If it is possible, I would encourage them to also package it well, so that they can export it outside the country, so that they will be able to get enough income out from the work that they do.
The project provided training for timber firms, contractors, and other woodworkers in the fledged VPA, EUTR, and domestic market policy. These woodworkers have become responsive to the VPA requirements. Boadak Timber Firm is a beneficiary of timber company under the project.
I'm Kweku Kumsi, the general manager of Boadak Company. We have benefited from the VPA project very, very immensely, in the sense that formerly or previously, anytime we brought in the logs, we just cut them into pieces, send them to the mill, so whether it is going for export or being sold locally, we do it. But these days, after the VPA program, it is all the logs brought in are properly documented, measured, put on paper, and then before we send them to the mill for sawing. After sawing also, we measure them and then know the output. Formerly also, we were not paying compensation to the farmers, especially those living along the forest belt. But VPA has taught us that since we are going to operate along the forest belt, we have to compensate the farmers, especially those whose cocoa farms will be destroyed. Formerly, all our products was going to the European and American markets, but after lessons from the VPA by the Working Group on Forest Certification, we have decided to sell to the local market, so that the activities of these chainsaw operators will be brought down to the barest minimum. An example is the car loaded on my right, this articulator vehicle. It is going to the local market. We supply the local market even more than they can buy.
Overall, stakeholders in the project district are pleased with the interventions of the project. The District Coordinating Director of Sefiyoso MA, Mr. James Asante Bafo, has this to say.
In a nutshell, the Forest Certification Working Group has done very well in this municipality, and we are ready to collaborate with them in diverse ways. And we are also requesting the funding agency to at least increase their fundings to enable them spread their tentacles in the municipality and then to other sister districts in the western north of the western region.
So far, our grade ourselves that we have achieved about 90% of the things that we set out to do. In that, now communities are reporting on forest offenses to the Forestry Commission. Also, communities have received livelihood through beekeeping, and they've been able to harvest honey. And that honey was even launched at a community derby. And so the communities have received that kind of social safeguard, which they have sold and accrued some income for their families. And secondly, the media were empowered to use their tool to communicate about illegal logging activities and its consequences on the environment and society. So based on these three key things we have achieved, so these people were the key targets of the project, to support communities, to support the media and all stakeholders to come together in saving deforestation. Start of the project, we had a lot of expectations. One of the expectations, we wanted to ensure that at least everybody within the district will hear the message of the fledged VPA and what the consequences of deforestation are. But because we also had a a limited time to operate. So we felt that we could have stayed in the communities where we have operated a little bit much more longer to make sure that the information that we send there are really grounded in the people.
Dr. Ernest Asare Abene is a board member of Working Group on Forest Certification.
The EU Flex Action Plan aims at reducing illegal logging by strengthening sustainable and legal forest management, improving forest governance, and promoting trade in legally produced timber. If somebody, let's say a company, go through this requirement, it means in the near future you will not be able to export your products to any European market belonging to the EU. And we also know, we hear from our big man from the Forestry Commission, that the European Union is our biggest trade partner, and it helps us a lot. So you see the risk that awaits Ghana if we don't hurry up and then fulfill all the requirements to be Flex compliant. Pursuant to the implementation of the Flex Action Plan, EU provides VPA partner countries support for public education on VPA, Flex, capacity development, social safeguards and livelihood programs, policy and legislation reforms. The purpose of these funding support programs is to prepare the stakeholders in the timber producing countries towards compliance of the Flex VPA requirements and licensing scheme. Finally, the Board of Working Group wishes to express our gratitude to the European Union for providing funding for the implementation of the project.
The project has been very successful. A beneficiary of the project, Emmanuel Eduhene, testified that the Alternative Livelihood Program taught them has improved their living conditions.
Working Group extending program
Members of the 30 forest communities who benefited from the beekeeping training and supplied with beehives launched the Fledge VPA Ani at a Deba held in Sehuyoso to share lessons learned on the project and present their outcomes of the training and capacity building program for forest stakeholders. To ensure deforestation and its impacts are reduced, wood users are constantly being entreated to buy only legal wood. Complying with requirements set out in the VPA means a reduction in timber illegalities, leading to sustainable forest management.